My passion for cyclopean walls began 6 years ago, when I first visited Easter Island. I was marveled by the moai, the big head statues, and enticed by the local stories of environmental disaster. Then, on a third day, I went for a run onto a side of the island not featured by the guide. What I stumbled upon was breathtaking. Double that, considering I'd been running. How could this place, called Vinapu, have such exquisite masonry, similar to what we can find up in the mountains of Peru, arguably too far from contact? Just the day before, I had visited Orongo, the village of the Rapa Nui, the local tribe. And it struck me that those people in that village were not able to build the fancy masonry by themselves. The poor natives would have their own living god inside an awful shack, unfit for a mole rat. No way they would build anything remotely so nice. I'm froze by desire. When the Spanish reached the island, they were horrified by the birdman cult. The local custom of selecting the leader by having men swim and climb to a nearby rock to capture the first spring egg. The egg part was not the issue. The ugly bit was the prize for the winner. He would get to marry a group of young girls who had been locked in a dark cave just to whiten their skins. Makes no sense that the palace of their birdman living god was a cheap, awful construction, whilst in Vinapu, just a jog distance away, they would be building this fancy polygonal masonry and the moais, plus entertaining ocean-traveling Incas. Just doesn't fit. Incidentally, the Rapa Nui had another meet with the people they called the Long Ears, a second wave of immigration that settled into the island. That one ended up in massacre and cannibalism. Could these people, the one with the long ears, be the builders of the Peruvian-style wall? Maybe. There is also a story about an Inca prince called Yakunaki that traveled into some Pacific islands for around 10 months in the year of 1470. Could this visitor have built Vinapu? Going back to the Peruvian-style platform, there are some moai buried next to it. We are told that the Rapa Nui would bury their defective moai, just to prevent the damaged spirits from haunting them. There are over 900 of these statues in the island, all damaged, and just a few were dug in. Most of them were just toppled down. Around that time, a Dutch seaman passed by the island and saw the last standing moai. Then, the same statue had been thrown down on his way back. The Rapa Nui were actively defacing the statues, not building them. Another contradicting detail is that many of the moai are tattooed with inscriptions, including this European boat sketched in one of them, clearly dating the graffiti into the 18th century, after the construction was paused. Making the timeline just too compressed, rushing from carving the moai, hosting visitors from Peru, building Vinapu, moving on to the birdman culture, and eventual cannibal genocidal wars. For it all to fit, for the Inca to visit Easter Island and the collapse to follow afterwards, they would have to be pre-Inca. Meaning, the Inca Empire ruled for a mere 100 years, before getting crushed by the conquistadors. It was not even enough time to build all the amazing things they are credited with back in South America. And too late to visit Easter Island, make some fine buildings and fade away into the myth of a new culture.
Searching the world for what's right here, underneath and
As usual, we cannot find a straight answer to whom or when these fancy polygonal walls were built. In Easter Island, there is not even a crooked official explanation, as it would clash with the other official tale, the one back in Peru where the Inca are almost supernatural builders. Alternatively, Vinapu could be both older than claimed and the result of extensive contacts with the Peruvians. But that would mean they would have to be pre-Inca, including the walls back in Peru, which is possible but not popular. The last smoking gun evidence, well, okay, not so much, is the reason why this remarkable wall is left out of the tourist circuit. Could it be that the guides are avoiding the hard questions? That's all for today. Hope you like it and join in on the next trip of the beaten path, with the polygonal masonry protecting us from hordes of tourists.